Italy has been home to the Turin Shroud for hundreds of years. This simple piece of cloth, 14 feet long, worshipped by the faithful for centuries. The controversial and mysterious Shroud of Turin, revered by millions, hasn't been seen by the public for 10 years. Technology is taking over. The faint contours on the relic have been used to generate AI images of Christ.
What if the most studied relic on Earth still held secrets? Well, I may have just cracked the code that's been hidden for centuries. The Shroud of Turin has been called a miracle, a masterpiece, and even a hoax. For decades, scientists, historians, and theologians have argued about its true origin. But now, with the power of artificial intelligence, researchers are uncovering details hidden within its ancient fabric, details so shocking that they've left experts speechless.
Regarding the Shroud of Turin, reports say there is new evidence the shroud is 2,000 years old, which coincides with our Lord's life and crucifixion.
This isn't just about history. It's about unlocking a mystery that could change how we see the past forever. Stick around, because what AI has revealed in the Shroud goes beyond science. It challenges everything we thought we knew. The most mysterious relic on Earth. Picture this: a 14-foot-long piece of ancient linen cloth, yellowed with age, bearing the faint but unmistakable image of a crucified man. This is the Shroud of Turin, and it's been driving scientists, historians, and believers absolutely crazy for over 700 years. Located in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, Italy, this mysterious cloth has sparked more debates, controversies, and research papers than almost any other archaeological artifact in human history. We're talking about millions of dollars spent on research, countless hours of scientific investigation, and debates that have divided the academic world for centuries. Some believe it's the actual burial shroud of Jesus Christ, the cloth that wrapped his body in the tomb before the resurrection.
Many Catholics believe it captures the exact moment of the resurrection, 2 millennia ago.
Others argue it's an elaborate medieval forgery, created by some unknown genius who somehow possessed artistic and scientific knowledge that wouldn't be discovered for another 500 years. But here's the thing that makes this cloth so incredibly fascinating. The image isn't painted, drawn, or created through any known artistic technique. It's literally burned into the fibers of the cloth itself, creating a photographic negative that predates the invention of photography by centuries. When you look at the cloth with your naked eye, you can barely make out the faint outline of a human figure. But when you photograph it and create a negative image, suddenly a detailed, three-dimensional human form emerges with stunning clarity. For decades, human eyes and traditional scientific methods could only scratch the surface of what this cloth might be hiding. The image is so faint, so subtle, that even with the most advanced photography and microscopic analysis, researchers struggled to extract all its secrets. Every time scientists thought they had figured it out, new discoveries would emerge that completely overturned their previous conclusions. That was until artificial intelligence entered the picture, and what it discovered has left even the most hardened skeptics completely speechless and questioning everything they thought they knew about this ancient mystery.
To attempt to prove that the shroud could never have been wrapped on Jesus's body. However, media has just absolutely gone ablaze saying that, oh, the shroud, based on this finding, did not cover the body of Jesus. The shroud has been debunked.
The AI revolution meets ancient mystery. In 2025, researchers from the University of Maryland, along with teams from institutions across Europe and North America, decided to do something that had never been attempted before on this massive scale. They turned loose some of the most powerful artificial intelligence algorithms ever created on ultra-high-resolution images of the Shroud of Turin. We're not talking about your average AI here. This is cutting-edge technology that makes ChatGPT look like a pocket calculator. We're dealing with generative AI systems, pattern recognition algorithms, machine learning networks, and computational analysis tools that can detect things the human eye could never hope to see, even with the most powerful microscopes. These AI systems can analyze millions of data points in mere seconds, identifying patterns, anomalies, and hidden details that have remained invisible for centuries. Think about it. Every single fiber in that 14-foot cloth contains information. Every slight discoloration, every microscopic variation in the weave, every tiny stain or mark could hold clues about how this mysterious image was formed. The research team used multiple latest AI approaches, including something called convolutional neural networks, which are particularly good at analyzing visual patterns, generative adversarial networks that can enhance and reconstruct damaged or faded images, and advanced spectral analysis techniques that can detect things beyond the normal range of human vision. But what makes this approach absolutely revolutionary is that these AI systems weren't just looking at the obvious features that human researchers had been studying for decades. They were diving deep into the fabric itself, analyzing the way individual fibers were discolored, the microscopic patterns of the image formation, details that exist in ultraviolet and infrared spectrums, and even characteristics that require mathematical analysis to detect. The AI was programmed to look for anomalies, things that don't fit expected patterns. It was trained to detect evidence of artificial creation versus natural processes. It was designed to identify three-dimensional information encoded in two-dimensional images. And it was equipped with the computational power to cross-reference its findings with massive databases of historical, archaeological, and forensic evidence. The results that started coming back from these AI systems were so unexpected, so groundbreaking, that research teams initially thought their computers had malfunctioned. But after running the analysis dozens of times with different AI models and different parameters, the same incredible discoveries kept emerging, forcing the scientific community to completely reconsider everything they thought they knew about this ancient cloth.
Arguably the most intriguing and controversial religious relic in the world, the Shroud of Turin is facing major scrutiny from a new 3D finding.
Hidden patterns that stunned researchers. When the AI began its comprehensive analysis, it immediately started detecting patterns that had been completely invisible to human researchers for over 7 centuries. We're talking about hidden geometric structures, microscopic details, and image characteristics that suggest something far more complex and sophisticated than anyone had previously imagined. One of the most shocking initial discoveries came from what scientists call anomaly detection algorithms. These AI systems are specifically designed to find things that don't belong, that don't fit expected patterns, that represent outliers in the data. And what they found on the Shroud were irregularities in the image that don't match any known method of creating artwork, staining, or even accidental image formation from any historical period. These anomalies appear to be embedded deep within the actual fabric structure itself, not just sitting on the surface like paint, dye, or any other applied substance would be. The AI detected variations in fiber density, microscopic structural changes in the linen itself, and what appears to be molecular-level alterations that extend several layers deep into the cloth. But that was just the beginning. The pattern recognition algorithms then discovered something absolutely mind-blowing about the three-dimensional characteristics of the image. Unlike any painting, drawing, print, or photograph ever created in human history, the image on the Shroud contains genuine, mathematically precise three-dimensional information encoded within its intensity levels. Let me explain why this is so incredible. If you take any normal artwork, even the most realistic Renaissance masterpiece, and try to extract three-dimensional data from it. You might get some approximate information about depth and perspective, but it won't be accurate or complete. Artists use tricks like shading, perspective, and proportional scaling to create the illusion of three dimensions on a flat surface. But the Shroud image is completely different. The AI algorithms were able to extract precise three-dimensional coordinates from every point on the image. It's as if whoever or whatever created this image had access to advanced three-dimensional scanning technology in the 1st century AD, centuries before such technology should have existed. The AI also detected what researchers are now calling information density layers. Different parts of the cloth contain dramatically varying amounts of encoded information, almost like a sophisticated digital data storage system. Some areas are incredibly information-rich, packed with details and patterns that require advanced mathematical analysis to decode. Other areas appear to be intentionally sparse, as if someone deliberately left them blank or minimal. This differential information density doesn't match any known artistic technique from any historical period. Even modern digital artists would find it extremely challenging to create this kind of complex, multi-layered information encoding in a physical medium like cloth. What could possibly create such a sophisticated, mathematically precise, multi-layered information system in ancient linen fabric? The AI couldn't answer that fundamental question, but it definitely confirmed, with overwhelming statistical certainty, that whatever created this image was operating according to principles and methods that are far from ordinary and don't match anything in our historical or scientific databases.
Even being given rare permission to film the real thing, he is now a believer.
I have absolutely no doubt the person depicted on this cloth is Jesus of Nazareth.
The blood evidence that changed everything. Here's where things get really intense and emotionally powerful. The latest AI analysis has been combined with groundbreaking new research from Professor Giulio Fanti and other forensic experts who conducted what they're calling the most comprehensive and sophisticated blood analysis ever performed on the Shroud of Turin. And the results are absolutely staggering and deeply disturbing. The AI-enhanced analysis revealed that the bloodstains on the cloth are not randomly placed, artificially created, or artistically interpreted. Instead, they show a precise, forensically accurate pattern that matches exactly what you would expect from a person who had undergone the specific types of torture and crucifixion practices that were documented as being used in 1st century Palestine by Roman executioners. We're talking about blood flow patterns that correspond perfectly to gravity, body position, and even the specific angles that would result from crucifixion wounds. The AI was able to map these patterns with incredible precision, measuring angles, flow directions, and pooling patterns that tell a detailed story of suffering and trauma that's both scientifically fascinating and emotionally heart-wrenching. The blood evidence shows clear signs of someone who had been severely beaten around the head and face, crowned with sharp thorns that caused multiple puncture wounds and significant bleeding, whipped extensively with a specific type of Roman flagrum, a multi-tailed whip with metal or bone tips, pierced in the side with what appears to be a Roman spear, and crucified with nails driven through the wrists and feet rather than the palms as often depicted in art. But here's what's really mind-blowing about the AI analysis. These aren't random artistic interpretations or someone's imagination of what crucifixion wounds might look like. They're precise forensic evidence of actual trauma, documented with the kind of accuracy that would hold up in a modern court of law. The AI detected that the blood had soaked into the cloth fibers in patterns that are consistent with actual human blood chemistry, clotting behavior, and the specific way blood interacts with linen fabric. The algorithms found evidence of different types of bleeding, arterial spurting, venous flow, and post-mortem seepage, all in locations that match the expected wound patterns. But here's perhaps the most incredible discovery. The AI analysis revealed that the blood had definitely soaked into the cloth before the mysterious body image was formed. This is huge, because it means that whatever strange process created that haunting body image happened after the blood had already been deposited and had begun to dry. This temporal sequence, blood first, image second, is a level of detail that would be virtually impossible to fake, even with modern forensic knowledge and technology, let alone with medieval methods and understanding. It suggests a level of authenticity that has forced even skeptical researchers to seriously reconsider their positions on the shroud's origins.
A previous pope wrote the shroud was, quote, a truly mysterious image which no human artistry was capable of producing. Lara, but we have the book, the broadcast, and now.
The radiation mystery deepens. One of the most persistent and intriguing theories about how the shroud's mysterious image was formed involves some kind of intense radiation event. For years, scientists have speculated that only a massive burst of energy could create the unique characteristics seen in the cloth. The superficial nature of the image, its photographic negative properties, and its three-dimensional encoding capabilities. But they've never been able to prove it conclusively. Until now. The comprehensive AI analysis has provided compelling new evidence that radiation was indeed involved in the image formation process, and not just any radiation, but something that operates in ways we don't fully understand even today. The algorithms detected patterns that are perfectly consistent with what physicists call distance-dependent image intensity. Basically, the closer a body part was to the cloth, the more intense the image appears on that section of the fabric.
The image is darker here, more contrasty than what the real shroud is.
This is exactly what you would expect if some kind of energy was radiating outward from the body in all directions simultaneously. But here's where it gets really wild and starts to challenge our understanding of physics. The AI found evidence of what appears to be a massive, instantaneous energy release that somehow managed to affect only the topmost fibers of the cloth without causing any heat damage, burning, or other effects you'd normally expect from high-energy radiation. We're not talking about a slow, gradual process that took place over hours or days. The mathematical analysis of the image characteristics suggests that whatever created this image happened in a split second, possibly in microseconds, with an energy intensity that scientists are still struggling to understand and quantify. Some researchers are now speculating, based on the AI analysis, that the energy release was equivalent to a nuclear-level event in terms of sheer power, but without any of the harmful radioactive byproducts, heat damage, or destructive effects you'd normally expect from such an event. It's as if the fundamental laws of physics were temporarily suspended or operated under completely different rules. The AI has also detected what appears to be directionality in the radiation pattern, not random energy emission, but focused, controlled radiation that somehow encoded three-dimensional information as it interacted with the cloth fibers. This level of precision and control would require technology and understanding that surpasses anything we have today. But perhaps most mysteriously, the AI analysis suggests that this radiation event somehow managed to affect the cloth at a molecular level without causing any detectable damage to the fabric structure itself. The linen fibers show clear evidence of having been altered by intense energy, but they remain structurally intact and show no signs of the breakdown, weakening, or deterioration you'd expect from radiation exposure. The AI has essentially confirmed what many scientists suspected but could never definitively prove, that the Shroud of Turin represents some kind of unprecedented physical phenomenon that operates according to principles we still don't fully understand, even with all our modern scientific knowledge and technological capabilities.
And new technology is pointing to the origins of the shroud being 2,000 years old.
Facial recognition breakthrough. One of the most striking breakthroughs came when researchers applied advanced facial recognition, AI, to the shroud's faint image, producing results that were both scientifically groundbreaking and emotionally powerful. Using algorithms originally designed for law enforcement and security, but optimized for damaged and partial images, the AI was able to extract and reconstruct details invisible to the naked eye. From these fragments, it built a full three-dimensional model of the face, carefully analyzing bone structure, tissue patterns, and facial proportions with extraordinary precision. The reconstruction revealed not the familiar European-looking Jesus of medieval and Renaissance art, but the face of a distinctly Middle Eastern man, consistent with what historians believe a first-century Palestinian Jew would have looked like. The model showed a robust, olive-skinned man in his early 30s, with clear Semitic features and the physical build of someone accustomed to manual labor. Even more compelling, the AI detected severe trauma, swelling around the eyes, a broken nose, and injuries consistent with blows to the face, as well as signs that align with the crown of thorns described in biblical accounts. These weren't artistic interpretations, but forensically verifiable markers of suffering. What shocked scholars further was how closely this reconstructed face aligned with some of the earliest depictions of Jesus in Byzantine art, images that predate the shroud's known historical record. This raises profound historical questions. If the shroud were merely a medieval creation, how could its image so accurately reflect Middle Eastern features and match artistic traditions from centuries earlier? The AI analysis suggests that the face on the shroud is not an imaginative rendering, but the imprint of a real man who endured genuine trauma, leaving behind both a scientific mystery and a profound challenge to our understanding of history and faith.
What appears to be new are studies concluded earlier this summer. They were focused on bloodstains and scourge marks found on the shroud and allude to Christ's death.
The carbon dating controversy explodes. The 1988 carbon dating test was long seen as the final verdict on the Shroud of Turin, placing its origins between 1260 and 1390 AD and categorizing it as a medieval creation rather than a relic from the time of Christ. For decades, this conclusion silenced much of the debate and became the cornerstone of arguments dismissing the shroud's authenticity. However, recent AI-driven analysis has reignited the controversy by uncovering major flaws in the original study, forcing experts to revisit the dating question with fresh eyes. AI pattern recognition has revealed strong evidence of systematic contamination and repair work in the very corner of the cloth where the carbon dating samples were taken. Researchers discovered mismatched fibers, differing in composition, weave, and apparent age, woven into the original fabric, likely during medieval repairs. This raises the possibility that the samples tested in 1988 were not representative of the ancient cloth at all, but of patchwork material added centuries later. If true, this would mean the carbon dating results reflected the repair threads rather than the shroud itself. The analysis also highlighted deeper issues beyond repairs. Over its long history, the shroud endured fire damage, candle smoke, incense exposure, and centuries of human handling, all of which introduced layers of contaminants. AI algorithms identified residues of wax, oil, biological growth, and even traces of metals from reliquaries, showing how these elements penetrated the fibers and could have skewed the carbon dating results towards a younger age. These findings suggest that environmental and biological contamination may have dramatically compromised the original test. As a result, scientists are calling for new dating tests using samples specifically flagged by AI as uncontaminated and original. They argue that only independent, multi-method analyses can resolve the debate. Yet, the Catholic Church, which safeguards the shroud, remains reluctant to permit destructive sampling, citing concerns about damaging the artifact. With both sides holding firm, the controversy over the shroud's true age is once again wide open, carrying profound implications for science, history, and faith.
Shroud, it's like the cloth that Jesus was buried in and left an image of him.
Well, apparently it's a lot older than they assumed when they did the first testing.
3-dimensional secrets revealed. One of the most astonishing revelations from the AI analysis of the Shroud of Turin came when researchers applied advanced 3-dimensional imaging algorithms. Unlike anything seen in ancient or medieval art, the Shroud's image contains precise, mathematically encoded 3D information within its intensity levels. This discovery has left scientists stunned, as it suggests whoever created the image managed to embed realistic depth data centuries before the invention of technologies capable of such a feat. The analysis revealed that the Shroud image is not merely an illusion of depth, as found in paintings or drawings, but an actual encoding of 3-dimensional information. AI reconstructions produced a lifelike, anatomically accurate human body with correct proportions, visible muscle definition, and details reflecting crucifixion trauma. The precision was so remarkable that researchers were able to generate realistic 3D models and even sculptures based solely on the image, something far beyond the capabilities of traditional image-making methods. What makes this even more extraordinary is the selective distribution of 3-dimensional encoding. Different areas of the body contain varying levels of detail, with especially refined information present in the face, hands, and wounds. This selective precision suggests an unknown process that prioritized certain anatomical features, defying explanation by conventional artistic or natural means. However, controversy has arisen, as some studies have warned that AI algorithms can sometimes create misleading results, patterns, depth cues, or details that aren't truly in the source material, but are artifacts of enhancement. To address these concerns, researchers are now employing multiple independent AI systems and cross-verifying results with different analytical approaches to ensure the findings are genuine. While debates continue over the reliability of some enhanced features, scientists broadly agree that the Shroud's basic 3-dimensional properties are real and remain entirely unexplainable by known historical techniques. This leaves us facing a profound mystery. The Shroud encodes depth and anatomical accuracy with a sophistication that seems centuries, if not millennia, ahead of its time.
The Shroud of research team proved that the image in the cloth could not be created through physical contact using a low-relief sculpture. It proved that.
The sculpture theory controversy. In August 2025, a groundbreaking study shook the Shroud of Turin research community by proposing that the mysterious image might not have come from direct contact with a human body at all, but rather from a sculptural model. Using AI-powered analysis, the researchers suggested that a shallow bas-relief sculpture made of wood, stone, or metal could have served as a template. Heat, pigment, or another medium might have been applied to the sculpture's raised surfaces, with the cloth draped over it, to transfer the image. If true, this would radically transform our understanding of the Shroud's origins. The study argued that such a method could account for the image's unusual clarity and lack of the distortions one would expect if cloth had been laid directly over a 3-dimensional body. The AI detected shading and proportional patterns that seemed to match better with a rigid model than with the softer contours of flesh. This analysis suggested that the Shroud's image may be more the result of artistic or technical craftsmanship than a direct imprint from a corpse. However, the findings quickly drew strong criticism from established Shroud researchers who raised serious doubts about both the methodology and the conclusions. Critics pointed out that the study relied solely on photographs and digital analysis without examining the actual cloth. More importantly, They argued that the theory ignored vital evidence, traces of genuine human blood, DNA, and forensic details of trauma embedded in the shroud, all of which would be extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, to replicate with a sculptural technique. They also highlighted that the three-dimensional qualities of the image go far beyond what a bas relief could produce, reflecting not just surface features but internal anatomical accuracy. The controversy highlights both the potential and the pitfalls of AI in archaeology and religious studies. While AI findings can reveal new patterns and insights, they can also generate conflicting interpretations depending on the assumptions built into the algorithms. In this case, some analyses favor the sculpture theory, while others reinforce the idea of direct body contact. Instead of solving the mystery, the AI debate has deepened it, pushing the Shroud of Turin into even murkier territory where science, history, and faith continue to collide.
Ever since the Shroud first really appears in history, there's been controversy about it, and there have been questions about its authenticity.
Hidden text and symbols. AI analysis of the Shroud of Turin has introduced one of the most intriguing possibilities yet: the presence of hidden text and symbols woven into the mysterious image. Using advanced computational enhancement, researchers claim to have uncovered faint markings invisible to the naked eye that could provide vital clues about the cloth's origin and historical context. Some of these potential inscriptions include Greek and Latin words such as Jesus, Nazarene, and taken down, terms that would align with the multilingual environment of first-century Palestine and suggest the Shroud could indeed date back to the earliest days of Christianity. The algorithms also detected symbols that may carry religious or cultural significance. Among them are what appear to be Jewish ritual markings, Roman administrative signs, and early Christian motifs that predate formal iconography. If confirmed, these findings would not only reinforce the Shroud's antiquity, but also provide unprecedented insight into the cultural and spiritual crossroads of the era. However, this is also where controversy grows, as scholars debate whether these marks are authentic or simply illusions created by centuries of wear and tear combined with AI's powerful pattern recognition. Skeptics warn that both artificial intelligence and human psychology are susceptible to seeing patterns that aren't really there. This phenomenon, known as pareidolia, means that once a researcher is told to look for certain letters or symbols, they may begin to see them even in random stains or fabric irregularities. Critics argue that much of what is being identified could be the natural result of aging and environmental damage, enhanced into apparent text by overzealous algorithms. These concerns highlight the razor-thin line between legitimate discoveries and false positives in computational archaeology. To counter these issues, researchers have implemented stricter verification methods, including running analyses through multiple independent AI systems and conducting blind studies with no preconceived expectations. They're also comparing results against control samples of similar ancient cloth to rule out coincidental aging patterns. Still, the debate rages on. If the hidden inscriptions and symbols are proven authentic, they could transform the Shroud debate by providing tangible historical evidence. But if they're exposed as artifacts of AI overreach, it will serve as a sobering reminder of the technology's limitations. For now, the Shroud continues to straddle the line between science, faith, and mystery.
To everybody who thought that the Shroud might be real, experts began to look at it, and it was finally determined that the test was taken from the very end of the Shroud.
The physics-defying image formation. The AI's analysis of the Shroud of Turin has revealed findings that push the boundaries of known science. It confirmed that the image is not the result of paint, dye, or any liquid process, but instead exists only on the topmost surface fibers of the linen, just a few micrometers thick. the discoloration affects only the outer molecular layers, with no penetration into the fabric. This is so precise it resembles a process of printing or burning at a nanoscale level, something beyond even today's advanced technology. Even more puzzling, the image shows no directionality at all. In any known artistic or natural process, painting, rubbing, printing, there are microscopic directional traces, but here, the image is isotropic, identical in every direction. Adding to the mystery, the algorithms detected distance correlation, meaning the image intensity matches exactly how close different parts of a body would have been to the cloth. This precision suggests an event where energy radiated outward in all directions simultaneously, in a way that aligns with known physical laws of radiation. The most extraordinary detail is the timing. The uniformity of the image implies it was created in a single, instantaneous burst, lasting only milliseconds or even less. Such an event would have to be powerful enough to alter fiber structures, precise enough to encode three-dimensional information, and controlled enough to affect only surface layers. No known scientific process fits all these conditions. Some physicists believe this could point to an entirely new physical phenomenon, or quantum effects manifesting on a scale we've never seen before. What's certain is that conventional explanations no longer hold, leaving the Shroud as one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of science. The AI analysis of the Shroud of Turin has revealed astonishing new insights from hidden patterns and radiation signatures to blood analysis and facial reconstruction, showing that this ancient cloth holds mysteries far beyond what anyone once imagined. Whether viewed as the burial cloth of Jesus Christ or a medieval artifact, the Shroud defies simple explanation and continues to challenge science, history, and our very understanding of reality. With research ongoing and AI uncovering new details, we are witnessing a groundbreaking moment where modern technology is helping unravel secrets that have baffled humanity for centuries. What do you think about these incredible AI discoveries? Do they prove the Shroud's authenticity, or are there still too many unanswered questions?